Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and bigz. And Schultzy. Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and bigz. And Schultzy. Hey, we're talking about age cliff players. Let's do this. Producer. Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Advice Network, and specifically the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and bigz, the hottest show that we've ever done. Literally, it's 110 degrees today. We're talking about age cliff players. Now, here's the thing. The way that we're doing it is that I'm talking about age cliff players to keep a wary eye on. Grindberg is talking about age cliff players that you want to smash because other people are going to keep their wary eyes on. So, Grindberg and I are in a draft right now in a charity league, and he's zigging when I'm zagging, and vice versa. We talked about quarterbacks and a couple of tight ends in our last episode. This episode, we're talking about wide receivers. I want to reiterate from the last episode, I'm not saying don't draft these players. This is not a don't draft episode. This is just an age cliff episode. So at the right value, at the right price, if it's not going to destroy your team, because that's what we're doing here in your redraft leagues. We're building champions. You murder your kids in your family leagues. Kill your coworkers in your work leagues. ESPN.com, NFL.com, Yahoo.com, CBSSports.com, etc. We don't want to torpedo your team by taking somebody who's going to fall off the age cliff. So I'm going to give you some guys to keep your eye on. First one is going to be Keenan Allen. California Golden Bears legend Keenan Allen, one of my homeboys. Yeah. So Keenan Allen is one of the best slot receivers of all time. He should be a Hall of Famer. Except he's 32 now. He was wide receiver 8 last year. And when we look at wide receiver ages, 30 to 32 tends to be when they start falling off. In fact, at age 32, wide receiver 1 performances dropped to 0. Now, that stat came from AI. So they might not have been looking at Jerry Rice, but it's not likely that Keenan Allen is going to be in the top 12 this year, even though he finished top 8 last year, or wide receiver 8 last year in PPR. Now, adding to that, he's entering an offense that has DJ Moore, who's a more reliable wide receiver than Mike Williams. He also has an upstart in Rome Odunze, who's likely a more reliable wide receiver than Quentin Johnston was, and who Josh Palmer was. He also has Cole Kmet, who is a better tight end than Keenan Allen has played with for a long time. So, a lot of mouths to feed. Again, I'm not saying don't draft Keenan Allen. I'm just saying we can't expect a wide receiver 8 finish from him again. My next one, another NorCal homeboy on my team, in fact, and I'm talking about Davante Adams. Now, Adams is 31. Again, I'm not saying he's going to have a terrible year and he's not draftable. He's definitely ownerable. I just Grindberged. But he is 31. He has dealt with concussions the last couple of years. I've seen it. And he's also in a receiving off in an offense that's going to be playing a lot of 2 tight end sets. They call that 12 personnel, where Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers are going to be options in the passing game. So is any combination of Zamir White, Dylan Laube, Alexander Madison, Mir Abdullah, and then you've got Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker on top of that. Add to that, you've got 2 quarterbacks who are battling it out, Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, who are 62, 63% completion rate quarterbacks. Not exactly a recipe for 600 attempts, 400 completions, and Davante Adams to have 170 targets. although he might have 170 targets again, just depending on what happens in the offense. But I'm not expecting him to have a top 10 finish this season. Mike, how about a couple of age cliff wide receivers that you're looking to capitalize on?
Aren't you proud of me first, though, bigz? We're 5 minutes into our show, and I have not created a word yet. You have actually created a word before so I'm very proud of myself.
I took the under on this show because I knew bringing it up on the last show, you were going to try and be better. So hopefully it'll pay off for me again.
Okay, so these are some age cliff players that are going to maybe exceed their expectations and defy age expectations. So I'm thinking DeAndre Hopkins fits that bill with his ADP of 36. I know he's
you
30.
Just said DeAndre Hopkins.
I almost, but I retracted. Hopkins remains a key player in the Tennessee Titans offense after that strong 2023, 75 catches, almost 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns. His chemistry with Will Levis continues to grow, and his deep threat abilities is showcased in his air yards last year, almost 2,000 air yards. With the new head coach, Brian Callahan, known for his effective passing strategies, I think Hopkins is set to benefit. I like him over Calvin Ridley. I know that's a far take, but I just think that Hopkins, with that experience and that connection, I think he is the play there. I think that the Titans are going to be set to bounce back, and I like his ADP. So liking DeAndre Hopkins to defy age there. Another guy I like again at his ADP. I know he faces challenges entering 2024 because Courtland Sutton is going to have a new quarterback, a rookie quarterback, mind you. Despite his career best 10 touchdowns last year, he's still probably going to regress into the 4 to 6 touchdown range, but his role as the top receiver solidifies, himself as that top option, especially with Jerry Jeudy gone. So go ahead. I think at his value, Courtland Sutton with the touchdown upside, I think is going to be a decent play, a steady wide receiver 3 in redraft leagues, and he could see performances that can get him into the wide receiver 2 range. So I think that might be a steal at his ADP. So what are you thinking here, bigz? Who's that age cliff player for you that is you're definitely not liking at his ADP, and you're most likely going to avoid them because they're your number one guy on that list?
Are you talking about my stoplight?
Yes, your stoplight.
My spotlight player. My spotlight player is Tyreek Hill. What? He was so good last year. Yeah. Tyreek Hill is really good, and he's unique in that he's faster than everybody and he's wilier than everybody. He gets open a lot. He gets schemed for. All indicators are that Tyreek Hill is going to be a top 3, top 4 wide receiver again. Tyreek Hill is older. He's older now. And he is now 30. I just talked about age 30 to 32 wide receivers. It's not a great time for Tyreek Hill, especially given the fact that he has dealt with soft tissue injuries. That's something I brought up in the quarterback episode last time. Soft tissue injury. Well, for me, soft tissue injuries for me. Soft tissue injuries tend to linger, and they tend to cause more problems than not as you get older. After 30 years old, soft tissue injuries can linger, and Tyreek has had hamstring issues and ankle sprains. Now, as somebody who has sprained, and again, I'm talking about my own injuries, I've sprained both of my ankles probably 15 or 20 times on each side. And while the recovery time is much quicker when I roll them, I'm not in pain for as long, but the mobility is absolutely shot. My ankles are not flexible because of so many injuries to them. Tyreek Hill is getting to that point where he's starting to lose time. He's starting to sit out, not full games, but like sit out for a quarter, go back to the locker room, get everything wrapped up. That is called the downfall. Okay. Tyreek Hill is rosterable. if he's around in the second round, if he lasts that long, go ahead and grab him because he's worth the opportunity to score a lot of points in fantasy. However, don't take him in the first round because of the age cliff. That's it.
That's it. Yeah. He's not telling you not to draft him, but just draft him cautiously at the right price. Great words there. So I'm going to talk about a guy that I think is still primed for fantasy resurgence in 2024, and that is Carolina Panthers' new wide receiver, Deontay Johnson. He's eclipsed 140 targets in 3 of his last 4 years, providing a reliable foundation with ample room to grow. Now pivotal for this Panthers revamped offense under head coach Dave Canales, Johnson's precise routes and knack for finding openings fit seamlessly. Despite his wide receiver 43 ADP, that's crazy at this point, Johnson's potential to command a substantial share of rookie quarterback or second-year quarterback Bryce Young's throws positions him as a sleeper and considerable upside. Johnson faced adversity in 2023. He had bad quarterback play. I think it's going to get better this year. I think Bryce Young is an upgrade from Kenny Pickett. Johnson's durability and route running bolsters his long-term NFL outlook. Despite fluctuations in his fantasy stock, Johnson's potential to reclaim his role as a premier receiver in Carolina makes him a calculated gamble worth considering in fantasy drafts. Deontay Johnson is set to resurge in 2024 with the Panthers.
Wait, Grindberg, are you talking about the stack I just made in the Rainbow Bowl? Deontay Johnson and Bryce Young? Is that what you're talking about? Try and beat me.
Them are fighting words.
Deontay. Do you like Deontay Johnson this year? What's your outlook? You think he's primed for a bounce back after that, season with Kenny Pickett and the uncertainty in that quarterback room?
Absolutely. Huge bounce back here. You mentioned the targets 3 out of the last 4 years. And the one where he was kind of down was this past season where he only appeared in 13 games. But it kind of makes some sense there. Those 3 years, he got fed the targets. He finished wide receiver 21, 8, and 30 in PPR. Now you're taking him here around 27. Even the 1 year, like I mentioned, was down to wide receiver 30, but that was the year with 0 touchdowns. That's not happening again. So you give him a couple touchdowns and he's already, paying off at 27. I'm comfortable reaching an entire round ahead for this guy. I think you're going to get a lot of targets, but you're going to get a lot of garbage time opportunity for him. And that is going to be huge. And so, sky's the limit, man, for Deontay this year, I think.
Cool. Yeah. bigz, we just solidified our rooms in Canton, Ohio, and we're bunking. And the fantasy forecast is headed on the road. We might do some live shows from the expo. We're excited to be there for, representing Fantasy Football Advice Network and the fantasy forecast. What else we got on the slate headed forward this summer?
Well, I would like to make an announcement.
Yeah, do it.
On this show right here. Dear viewer, I know that our content is geared towards redraft leagues, but have you ever wanted just a little bit more? Maybe like a side piece, like redraft is your wife, but you want that mistress on the side. Well, if you've ever played IDP or you have any interest in playing IDP, we are sponsoring jersey leagues throughout the Fantasy Football Advice Network, and I am hosting a jersey league. So you get into this league, and if you win it, you will win an autographed Josh Allen linebacker for the Jacksonville Jaguars jersey.
Am I allowed to play?
We're going to find out, Schultzy.
I want to play.
Schultzy's a Jags fan, everybody. So if you want to do that, keep watching, like, subscribe, stay in the space, because I'm going to be hosting this jersey league, and the winner gets a Josh Allen jersey. How cool is that? So It is IDP. So if you've never played with individual defensive players, this is not choosing a team defense. This is you're stacking linebackers, defensive linemen, defensive backs, and they score points too. It's one of the most fun formats that I play in, and I'm really, really excited about this. We've got 4 or 5 IDP jersey leagues among all of the jersey leagues that we're doing, and I think Josh Allen is probably the coolest jersey. There's a Quay Walker one, but Josh Allen, my league, is going to be the one to be in.
Yeah, that's awesome. I got a pretty good jersey too, but bigz is kind of fading my guy. I got a Tyreek Hill jersey. So unless he's a second round guy, bigz has got nothing to do. I'm just bugging you, bigz.
It's a Hall of Famer. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. So Tyreek Hill, I'm representing the wide receivers. So if you're interested in joining my jersey league, hit us up here. We want to build something big here. Both are pretty awesome jerseys to get, and you're gonna have a tough competition beating bigz and I'll tell you that.
I don't like your sarcasm though. Tyreek Hill is gonna have 10-1 people trying to get into that league. What are you talking? Nobody wants a Josh Allen jersey.
Are you kidding?
Tyreek Hill.
Oh, come on. No one likes the Dolphins.
People in Miami do.
I'm just bugging.
Thank you for watching the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and bigz and Schultzy. We'll be back with more Cliff players. We're going to be talking about running backs. So, again, make sure that you've liked this episode. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you know when we drop. And follow us on Twitter at BigBonedFFB, at FFConnect99. And until next time, we hope you win.
Hope you win.